Boom, we are live, guys. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, like always, everyone in the world. Today we have a very special person here. I think everybody loves you. You are like a legend. Sometimes when I'm seeing your videos, everybody is always telling Nico, you are the legend. And
Cheering
I
on.
think, I think first of all, I want to make my. I'm going to talk my opinion about you. You are one of the persons that I follow more and see the complete videos of your races, of your events, of everything you do, not just because of your style of riding that I love, but second of all, because you are a person for the community. You are always not riding, just riding. You are always helping everybody, asking, "Are you okay?" You are not just to win. You are there to have fun, and that is most of the important thing. Is us taking care of the community, having fun, and see the other ones having fun too. And I think you bring this magnificent positive energy to all of us, and I hope that lots of the riders and the people know that you are one of us, one of the persons who love this sport, who are trying to bring this sport to the top. And without you, or if everybody think like you, I think this sport will be no bigger and bigger. Uh, First of all, Nico, I want to
Hey.
say hello. We made it for the third time we try it to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, just scheduling conflict after scheduling conflict, but I'm glad we're finally here.
So, first of all, I just want to say thank you so much for coming here. I think you're going to share lots of things with us. I'm going to leave all the links for everybody. We're going to be in X. Today is X, not Twitter anymore. We're going to be in Facebook. All the groups are going to put it now live for everybody to see it. And we are in YouTube. And first of all, like always, my first question, Nico, how do you came how do you find this one wheel world? Was your first electro PV? Do you try another one before? Do you have another background like skating or something like that? Tell us a little how everything started.
Yeah, so I have zero background in board sports. Like I grew up like kind of liking the idea of skateboarding. I played a lot of Skate 3 on Xbox, but I had like a longboard that I pushed around my neighborhood at some point, but not really anything crazy. But in general, never really grew up taking any risks in my life. And then my first year of college is right when those rental scooters started popping up everywhere, at least in the U.S. Um, they're all over campus, and I had a dorm right at the bottom of a massive hill, and I hated walking every day. So I started really taking advantage of the scooters. And then it got to the point where that cost adds up more and more. It's like, okay, I should probably just own my own thing. So that combined with liking the idea of getting into something skate related, I did eventually get an electric skateboard. Not, I didn't start with one wheel. It was just a electric shortboard called a Riptide.
Mm-hmm.
Rode
I
that
know
for a
it.
few months. Started as I got into that, I started like looking around for people in the community. We didn't really have any group or anything, so I started a Facebook group for Cincinnati. We started doing group rides, and eventually through those group rides, I met someone that had a one wheel. And I knew of it before, but that's like actually seeing it in person and seeing someone ride it, take it off road, and show how it's different than electric skateboard. I think that really got my mind like hitched on that idea of that actually looks kind of cool. So a couple months later, mid 2019, so almost 5 years ago now, I ended up getting my first one wheel. My first year, I pretty much rode it like a skateboard. I stuck to streets pretty exclusively. Uh, a year in or so, I started finally hitting trails, and after that, I just got absolutely hooked on trails. I still ride streets right now for like commuting and whatnot, but I'd say like 90% of my riding is on trails nowadays.
Uh, Putting like this, you as a rider, you today everybody who knows you, you are very experienced riding, being off road
Mhm.
in spaces that you cannot imagine. And today we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about, I think, we're going to talk about the VESC, about everything is changing, because it's lots of things changing in the last 1 year, and maybe something that we was not expecting, maybe
Yep.
was a big change. But we're going to go from the start. I just want to say to everybody is out there who is coming now to the live, leave your question if you have any question to Nico, and we're going to try to answer you if we don't answer before. Let's put it this way: what was the first machine that you ride from you one wheel?
XR. I just started. It was like right in the middle of the XR's lifespan, pretty much. So started with XR, and ever since then, I've pretty much stuck with at least the XR platform. Uh, is right when the GT came out. I pre-ordered it right away, and once I got it, I started riding it. It still didn't have like there was a lot of issues with the firmware that had to be sorted out. So I started just like going back and forth between them, and then I was so used to how the XR rode, I mostly stuck to that. But
Mm-hmm.
I knew if I wanted to get serious about racing, I'd have to at least keep the GT, in my arsenal, ready to go. Uh, and still, like, they released firmware updates, mods came out to make the GT ride a bit better. You could throw an XR motor on there if you got it milled. So I did all those things, and even with all that, I still ended up riding XR the entire season, at least for racing. And then later that season, I started finally. It was when Hannes uh, finally figured out, or at least he popularized the idea of going high Mahoney KP on VESC, which, to simplify, is what makes VESC ride like a one wheel
Mm-hmm.
rather than something kind of jerky and clunky like EUC firmware. Uh, so once I saw that big game changer and saw VESC started actually like becoming something that could ride pretty solid, and there was that like just a little bit of hope that the XR platform could live on and have the power of a GT or even more. I just immediately went all in on that. Like whatever I can do to make Vest better, I'm doing it. Anything to stay on the XR platform. So day one wheel XR, and as far as the like platform and like frame is concerned, I've been XR since then.
But putting like this, so for I'm going to leave the link from the interview that you give to the one wheel, the Future Motion, and I think that was a good interview because you try good things from them. And having this interview, I have this question for me. Having you, they bring you to the company, was something for you that you give your opinion and you give your uh, part tips for them to change something, for they upgrade something. What was about this interview for you?
I'm not actually sure what you're talking about. You might be mixing up, possibly just me and someone else, or
No.
maybe it wasn't
I'm
with
going to
one
show
wheel.
you something then, but we come back to that. But
Yeah.
putting like this today, you are with the VESC,
hmm
uh, and changing from the GT to a VESC. And I know that I see you sometimes you riding with a controller.
Yep.
What
Yep.
was the change for you? What has changed for you? Or do you use today the controller or not anymore? Because when I see you riding, not all the time I see you with the controller.
Yeah. At this point, I still try to ride time to time without the controller. One, just to keep those skills up, but also I want to make sure that we're still improving the firmware too, and how the board rides without the crutch of a controller. So I still care about that. Uh, but the riding with a remote has just absolutely changed not only how I ride, but how much I enjoy riding the extra control. And to sort of explain it a bit, especially people that aren't familiar with it. So I had this idea actually before I even got a one wheel. Just the moment I saw a one wheel coming from Eastgate, my mind started sort of going of like what you could do with that extra input beyond just your body. Uh, and the idea behind the remote is like with a one wheel, the only way to get the nose to lower is to lean forward, and to get the nose to raise is to lean back. uh, but let's say you need to get your nose up for something, the only way to do that is to lean back, which also breaks. So there's no way to actually accelerate while also raising your nose. uh, and that at the end of the day, that limits a lot of possibilities with one wheels, the biggest thing being the potential for jumps. Right now, to get up steep inclines on a one wheel, at least carrying speed into it, you have to brake before you get to the incline to clear your nose, so you're losing a lot of momentum there. Now it's something like this, you can lift your nose before you go into it. That way you can just go full speed into it, accelerate up the jump and out of the jump. Uh, so that's just one use case example. But as you get more and more in tune with it, it's sort of like you really don't have to think about it. It kind of the same way riding becomes sort of like almost like reading your mind. I never really think about what I'm doing with the controller. It's kind of just become like muscle memory, one to one, just a part of how I ride. And so like my thumb just does whatever it needs to do to get the board at whatever angle I want it to be at any given time. So just
Do you
that
think
extra level of control has made the ride experience safer, more capable, and just like I've had the most fun in the last year riding with this thing. More fun than I've ever had on a one wheel. So
do you
I still
think
ride without it from time to time, but it's been a game changer.
do you think that has helped you, because if you ride the skateboard, that has helped you a lot with the controller to
A
make it
little bit.
easy?
It's definitely, it makes me a bit more comfortable with just having it in my hand. I know there's a lot of people that really like the thing they love about one wheel is just not having to hold a controller. They want to be hands free,
Hmm.
and that's part of why I got into it too. So that was something I was worried about at first. But the big difference is with an electric skateboard, you rely on that remote. You're constantly using it, and that's how you ride the thing. In the context of a one wheel where you're just using it to change your board's angle when you need to, it's an optional thing. You only need to use it when you want to use it. So from that perspective, it doesn't really feel like a nuisance. You can kind of just pull it out when you want to. You could even just have it like in your pocket or something,
Hmm.
and then pull it out before you come to like a steep hill or something like that.
Do you think that
Uh,
do you think the option for the control is good for you to go downhill and uphill to change the nose?
yeah, absolutely. Like right now, vest boards have ATR, which it's similar to what One Wheel just put out,
Hmm.
gradient tracking, where just when you're going uphill, the nose raises. When you're going downhill, the nose lowers.
Hmm.
So that's really useful for like extended climbs and extended downhills. But what the remote is great for is stuff with fast transitions. Think like tabletops, rollers, stuff where you're quickly going from flat to uphill or uphill to downhill, things like that. That way, like right now, what a lot of people experience with tabletops on a one wheel is you start going up the tabletop, and then once you get to the top and you get to that flat section at the top, uh, because the board went nose up for that incline, you end up tail dragging once you get to the top of the tabletop. So with the remote, you can raise the nose going into the tabletop, but make sure you're level at the top. And then even lower your nose before you drop into the downhill so you don't clip your tail before as you enter the downhill. So just that extra level of control for all those transitions. It's something that unless we develop some kind of like mind reading Neuralink type deal, there's no physical way to do it through firmware. It's just that predictive response. You need some kind of input device. So that's where the remote really comes in handy.
Yeah. So, no, first of all, I want to say sorry to Jeff to Float Life. I was wrong about that. I was putting the FM and the
Oh yeah,
yeah, and
yeah.
that was just the. I just want to correct myself. That was the day. Was for you easy going trying riding with him without a controller, trying the new machine. Was fun. Was a fun day. Was what was different. I see you fall lots of times, and I was
Yeah.
like, I was
No, that's
like,
a fun story. So I want to say it was easy. This I got flown out. This was basically immediately after race season, at
mm-hmm,
least for most of the races. So I had come from just being all in, constantly using my race board, which is like big tire,
mm-hmm,
control freaks, which are like footholds, and then the remote. So those control freaks and remote especially, I try not to rely on them too much, but for racing, like if you're trying to get the most out of your racing performance, you want to take advantage of those as much as possible. So that's just what I was used to. Now they get their float wheel, and they want to fly me out to ride it and just give my feedback and things like that. This was very like last second because they weren't expecting to get it. They didn't get
that
tracking or
was
anything like that.
amazing. You fly there and was a big surprise, and
Yeah, yeah, it was like, hey, you want to fly here in like 3 days? I was like, okay, sure. So like 3 days later, I got flown out, and it was like a full day flight. Uh, Arrive like at 2 or 3 in the
uh-huh,
morning, wake up at 7 in the morning, something like that. We had a 2 hour drive out to here, Lake Tahoe,
uh-huh.
and immediately out of the car, out of that 2 hour drive, hopped on a board, cameras on, let's ride. Like no warm up, no getting used to no footholds, not getting used to no remote. And then the float
I
wheel
see
kind
you
of
trying here all the time.
yeah.
I was like,
The float wheel rides closer to a GT than an
mm-hmm,
XR, in my opinion. I think it's just the thicker platform, the thicker rails makes it ride a little more tippy. So they at least had the big tire on there, which was really nice. But in
mm-hmm.
general, it was just a board I was very much not used to.
Yeah, that
That's
was
the
a
big
first one.
reason why I'm just bailing left and right the entire video. But it was fun. Those trails have to be like I even with a board I'm not used to, I think they've become like my favorite trail system out there that I've ever ridden. It was such a great time.
Just putting here, I think that was was a great video. I'm sorry, I mix up, but
You're fine.
because I love this video because I think that everything was like a surprise for everybody. They was surprised that you came and everything, and then see you guys flying. I think for me is one of the best videos I see from the float life. I think I love to see them riding and pushing, and this video was everything what we need. For you as a rider, what you prefer? Do you prefer more downhill? Do you prefer a mix? Do you prefer what is the type of terrain that you love to, or that you are used to?
Man,
Because
so
I'm
I
seeing
mean,
you now jumping a lot. Huh? We're going to come to
yeah,
that.
so that's the thing. Like I come from racing primarily nowadays, so that's all downhill for the most part. And like a great downhill run is a great downhill run. That's always a great time. But ever since like VESC started getting better and better, and especially with the remote now, being able to sort of go this other path of like exploring trails that you just never could on a one wheel
Mm-hmm.
before, like crazy steep uphill
Mm-hmm.
kind of trails, really techie kind of stuff, and just going back and exploring old trails that you've passed by and said I could never do that, and then go back and actually do it and see what's in that trail. That never fails to put a smile on my face. Like that's such an amazing time that I hope everybody gets to experience at some point. And now with gradient tracking on GTS, that's gonna allow a lot of those guys to get that same sort of feeling of just climbing up like insane hills they never could before. So that's a great time. And then now we're starting to get into jumps and things like that. And I can't stress enough. I really think this is the year that we start really seeing more and more people actually like jumping and incorporating that into race lines and things like that. It seems like everyone's starting to finally dip their toes into that. Even with the GT and GTS, but especially the guys that are rocking remotes now, you're gonna see a lot more of that this year. I know you definitely will for me, so I'm all about that this year.
So I just want to say to all of you guys, it's like this. Everybody who loves this sport, when we wake up in the morning, the first question is for us when we open the Instagram or something like that, or YouTube, or what is new, what this
Yep.
guys created today, what is going
Every
to be
day,
insane.
every week, just something new.
And you're seeing the guys pushing and making now lots of tricks, lots of the imagination is don't stop. We are seeing like the movement, like skateboards, is happening now with the one wheel, because it's not just the jumps, it's the tricks, is the speeds, is you have the chance to go downhill, uphill. You don't have to carry the board anymore like before. Was
Exactly.
always a mess for all of us. We want to have that power, and the power was not there. And today we are seeing everything changing, and then we go like, I'm going to put it like here very fast for everybody just to see, for us not to make. Let me just change here very fast. I just want to make it so. Let's put it here. The last race from you, my friend, is just
Yeah.
insane. That was just crazy.
Yeah. I gotta say, so that one drop that it just showed too in the preview,
Let's let,
it's
let's
got the
let's put it
middle
from the
line.
beginning. Let's
Yeah.
put it from the beginning. I think it's fair. I'm going to leave all the links from him. Guys, go there. So he makes on Facebook all the. I'm going to stop here. In Facebook, he makes all the completely races and events that you go, and in Instagram, you use it more like the cuts and something like that. Is
Yeah,
correct?
if you go to my YouTube channel, that's where you'll see all the long form videos, all the full race. Anytime I'm riding, I'm always wearing my full face helmet with a GoPro right on that chin bar and
Mm-hmm.
just always recording. So any kind
Let's
of
put it
full
here.
race, I upload to
Wow, that
YouTube.
is.
Yeah, that's the great thing about. So this wasn't the first year that we raced here. We also raced last year, and it was my first big race on VESC. And we had ridden the trails completely differently between 2022 and 2023. Like there's features littered all through the trails, and this was the first year that we were actually just hitting everything.
And
So
the question is like this, Nico.
yeah.
From last year to this year, do you see in this like the update of the race was more jumps, was more the difficulty was bigger, or is like the same track?
So here's the interesting thing. This race is one of the only races out there that I've seen that includes pro features.
Mm-hmm.
So like any amateurs that race, they just race the trail of top to bottom. But we had special features laid out specifically for pros that you have to hit this jump, this drop, things like
Mm-hmm.
that. And if you don't hit it, you get a time penalty.
Mm-hmm.
Last year we had I think like one per trail, and this year it was a similar. We had all the features from the previous year, but then we added more on top of that. And additionally, there's some parts throughout the trail that they weren't mandatory features, but it was like you can either take this rock garden on the left,
Mm-hmm.
which takes a like it's techie, you have to slow down for it, uh, or there'd be a sort of spine on the right that if you have enough speed for it, you can just launch off of it and
Mm-hmm.
jump the entire rock garden. So it's not a mandatory feature, but if you have the balls to do it, it's way faster. So this year we actually saw a lot more of that, of people taking those riskier
Wrists.
lines just because it's faster.
Wow.
And this trail system is just littered with stuff like that. So that was an amazing time, and I think now as people start getting into jumps and things like that, right now with like tabletops and things like that, you have to speed check before the tabletops. So now you're going to start seeing people just actually jumping entire tabletops and doubles and things like that just to shave off a second here and there. as long as people can get it consistent enough that it's not too much of a risk in an actual race. So that's going to be really exciting to see, and I'm hoping to get into it myself so I can get the footage to share with everyone.
Mm-hmm. Nico, I have a question. Seeing what you are seeing today, you are one of the guys who started from the beginning having this type of races because before you don't have the speeds that you have today for you to do what you are doing.
Yep.
And that way you can make the jumps because you have the speed, you have the power there. And that way you can go to these jumps. What do you think is going to happen now in the future? Seeing so many riders come, I'm going to talk about just Europe. I'm going to stop this here, and it's like this. I'm going to talk about Europe because somebody asked something here, and I don't want them to leave the question.
Yeah.
It's like this. Europe last year was the first year that we have so many events. Never we have before so many events. We have to look to the events of you guys in USA, and they organized 6 events, and I see the change of 1 year. Now we're going to go to the second year of races, and it's just crazy how you see riders, new riders, crazy riders, guys that you never see before, and they are pushing. What do you think is going to be the future now that we're seeing the VESC? The VESC is just in the beginning from one view. Lots of people think, okay, we are with 84 volts or 100. Guys, that is just the beginning. Imagine the EUCs was the same. Today they are with 168 volts.
Yeah.
So forget that. We're going to see something like that happening with the one wheel. That's not the problem. But what you will see now that the riders, they are crazy. Like you are a crazy rider. You are the one who goes to these races. You every day are seeing new riders, new. It's like a battle for you. It's something that you never know what is going to happen.
Yeah.
How can you describe it for the future? That all of us who love this sport.
Well, here's what's interesting, and I hear actually a lot of the EUC guys talking about something similar. We're kind of seeing the same thing in both the one wheel and the EUC world, just on different scales. And that's you look at EUCs and they just keep getting higher and higher voltage, more and more power. And I think as far as like trail racing goes, we're kind of reaching diminishing returns of what you can get out of more power. Like, great, your board can go 35, 40 miles per hour. Good luck doing that on a trail. Like, the hard part is staying on the board and maneuvering the board at those speeds on an actual trail.
Don't you think that is important? Is the torque?
Not even the torque necessarily. It's just being able to stay on the board in those conditions, being able to maintain traction on the board in those conditions. So really, I don't think we need more power than we have right now. What we need is innovations in terms of things that allow you to keep traction, allow you to handle chunk better. And
Safety.
at this point, that really is just suspension. I don't know the best way to go about it for one wheels. I don't know what direction that could
Do you like
head.
to have a suspension?
I think it has, like, at the speeds that we're riding, if we want to go faster, we need some kind of suspension. And that's why you've seen, well, really, because that's why you've seen in the last year more and more people are running those bigger tires. Because
I have one of them.
Oh yeah, I saw. Yeah, and you have the X10 rails
Yeah,
too,
I have
don't
to say
you?
that's
Yep.
a VESC man. He
Yeah.
made one for me. Everybody knows I was very disappointed because I'm a big guy and I was having the problem when I'm going to go up hills and down hills. Downhill is not a problem, but down hills. You know how the future motion works when you go down hills and you brake too much, is going to disengage.
Yep.
It's the same. And having the opportunity to go to the VESC has opened my. I was very happy to come back again and start to have lots of fun. I don't know how many
Yes, it's
those.
safer. So.
My friend, in a future motion, I don't know how many nosedives I had.
Yeah.
I was trying to give speed, and the machine was not giving the answer.
Yeah.
But that is not the problem. So for me, you are a person who know the trails, like this trail that you are using, how is the system in USA? Do you have the chance to try the trails before you race, to make how that works for everybody to know, because that is very important for all of us here in Europe. And then I have a question from one guy here from Europe, because I think they are asking if you're going to come to Europe and race
Yeah.
with these guys.
Yeah, so most of the, I mean, at the end of the day, it's still the early days of the sport, even out here. So we're also kind of still figuring things out. Every race is a little bit different, but generally, we've gotten a somewhat consistent system where the day before, usually a race is on Saturday, and the day before the race, Friday, is generally considered the official practice day.
Hmm.
What you'll often see, especially as people take things more and more seriously, is you'll see people coming out early, so people start showing up on Thursday or even Wednesday or Tuesday, and riding the trail system, getting it under their feet. But usually the actual announcement of like what trails are in the race usually doesn't come until the official practice day, so that those guys that show up early don't have a huge advantage. Everyone figures out at the same time. So usually the guys showing up early just have to hit every trail and hope that they hit the right ones. But for the most part, it's just like getting used to that terrain and how that trail system rides and things like that. So for the most part, yeah, just practice on Friday, race on Saturday. And as far
So
as me coming out there, I'm someone that, especially as more and more events pop up, I just want to hit everything. I want to go to everything.
it's like
Right
me.
now, it's especially in Europe, it's insane how many events have popped up just in the last year, and then especially for this upcoming year. Like that list is crazy. I think you
This
guys have more events than we do.
this year we have already 8 events. We're going to have nine, because one of them is not going to be official. Two
Hmm.
is going to be in Germany. One is not official because in Germany it's illegal to ride. Then we have to make
Oh
a
yeah.
private, land of one guy
Hmm.
who loves Simone, who loves this sport, and he makes it in his home for us to have the opportunity to have. And then we have the other one in the Float Italia that they're going to make like a different, is not official, but it's going to be just for people who going to, it's just for people who do tricks, who's going to make tricks. And they're going to be a very special invitations for this event. So
That's
uh,
awesome.
is something that maybe in the future we're going to see more guys from USA coming to Europe to
I hope
challenge
so.
the
Yeah.
Europeans. Do you know that is something that we always, not negative but positive, USA against Europe, is something that we're going
That's
to
why
see more?
I definitely want to see it more, because it's this thing of like you have these two separate regions that like there's no real way to see how people stack up until you pit them against each other. And then it's also this factor of like all the USA guys are riding together all the time, and uh like trying to one up each other, and that's how they get better. So you see the same thing in Europe, but it'd be really cool to see more USA guys come out to Europe and vice versa. And you sort of get, like, let's say that there's a guy from Europe that's like just riding insane. If he comes out to USA, that's gonna pump up everyone in the USA to get better to catch up with him, and vice versa. But yeah, there's just so many events right now. My focus is just being able to make the events in the USA that I haven't been able to. Everything on the West Coast, I've never been, like Seek and Shred Fest, Let It Ride, all those in like California and
Hmm.
Nevada, I haven't been to yet. So that's my big goal for this year. And after this year, if I can come out to one or two events in Europe, I'd love to. But baby steps, one step at a time.
I hope that the guys from Europe, they are struggling, they are fighting to this to come very very big. They don't have no support from Future Motion.
Yeah.
They are this year they are completely independent. They don't have nothing. They ask the everything. They are not doing nothing, and I think that is beautiful that they now they are doing something. The final is going to be in Portugal. The people have to fight to go there, and we're going to see the best riders. I will try to go in most of them. I hope. Last year I was in all of them.
Yeah.
But
It's harder when there's more. It's
yeah,
you want to make everything, and life's
uh,
life.
yeah.
So
Sometimes you have to take, like here in Europe, to fly with the boards is not easy. You
yeah,
have to take it, and sometimes the people don't have. And last year I was with the car, always taking the boards from everybody, the one
yeah,
wheels from everybody. My car was always busy and making 1,200 miles just to go to the event
yeah.
and to bring everything. But you, my friend, last year and 2022, how many miles do you make to go to all the events?
I'd have to do the math. Cause yeah, I made like every event I go to is probably about a 1,000 miles away, something like that. I'd have to check.
Hmm.
Cause I go from Ohio to Arkansas and back, Ohio to North
Hmm.
Carolina back, Wisconsin. Each of these are like whatever like between 12 and 17-hour drive would come out to. And I probably did like 5 or 6 events last year. So like you're just constantly driving, constantly on the road. And I was juggling all that along with school and whatnot. Like it was not easy,
It's
but
not easy.
I graduated finally, so I'm really hoping I've got some more
You're
time on
going to
my
take
hands.
this year more to race and to have a
Oh,
little time
yeah.
for you?
Here's the thing. Last year, like the only time I really rode my board was at races, at these events, outside of like taking my little commuter board to like go grab food or go to class or something. Like the only time I rode trails was at races, and I tried to show up like 2 or 3 days early just to get my legs moving. Since I'd just be completely out of practice when I show up out of the car. But this year, I really want to get more into just consistent training, consistent practice outside of the events, just riding as much as I can to get my endurance up, take better care of myself, and just start taking things a lot more seriously. So
Uh,
we'll see what
Nico,
comes of it.
uh,
But
Nico, putting this way, do you think, like you as a, a rider, a guy who rides a lot, do you think there's something that is missing for all of us, is making maybe having a little more sponsors that you can go and travel like we have, like the BMX, or that you have more sponsors like with the Red Bull or Monster Energy? Do you think that is something that we're going to see more in the future? Because I think now this year, last year was like the first call. I think this year is going to be like a wake up for these companies, and because the company is going to see the upgrades what you guys have. Uh, 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 I would love to show you the picture from your board, but I want to show something before of you what you are doing in the last time.
yeah,
It's like this. That is something new that you are doing. It's something that we're going to see lots of riders doing. It's something that you are loving to do now.
I mean, at this point, it's still winter out here, so I really haven't had a chance to actually like go out and take this out to the dirt and like actually jumping tabletops too much.
Hmm.
But it's the moment I can get out on the trails, I'm fully prepared to just start leveling up. And it's funny you bring up sponsors. That's honestly one of the biggest reasons I want to get into jumps. They look cool. Like playing
Yeah,
out anyone. There's a lot of things in one wheel, especially with
come on,
tricks and things like
let's go
that.
to this one.
Yeah,
Come on,
but
this
like
is, hey, that is crazy, my friend.
since
When I see
that
it,
jump is so fun.
wow, that is just you guys are just pushing to the limit.
Yeah,
That is
and like there's things like tricks and whatnot that like you kind of have to be a one wheel rider to like look at it and understand how hard that is. And for it to like look cool to you. And then from an outsider's perspective that doesn't know, like it might just look silly or something like that, look easy.
no, that's not
But
silly. That's
jumps are
just
jumps. Like anyone that sees a one wheel doing
you are
jumps, it's
flying, my friend.
pretty cool. Like that's what gets attention. So that I really think that's what's gonna pull sponsors in. I really want to push jumps for
It's
that
not.
reason.
It's not that, Nico. Is radical sports.
Hmm.
That's what the people want. The people want to see
Yeah.
crazy stuff. They don't want to see just you riding and going. This is another level. Just putting this way, that's why I think it's like this. we are like babies. Now we are growing, and then now we are starting to. It's like everything is new for you. Everything
Yeah.
you are now seeing your limits, and you know that you can go faster, higher, and you can do lots of good stuff. And I think that's what the people is going to wake up, and they're going to say, "Oh, we have to bring this to someplace." We are seeing guys jumping in a way. I'm just going to come back again to this video because I listen lots of my friends telling one wheel they're never going to jump, one wheels they cannot do, and now my
Yeah.
friends are
We're
saying,
getting
"Oh,
there.
yeah, watch it with the one wheels," and is not just a joke. That is something that the AUCs are lots of riders that I know who has AUCs. They say, "Hey, a VESC is something. Maybe I'm going to have it. It's something that I." Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, and here's the like I said, I didn't grow up doing anything like not just board sports. I didn't do any sports. I didn't do anything that like was risky. I never put my body on the line. I'm just not the kind of person to do that, at least growing up. But the big thing that like in the last year and a half, ever since I got into vest, that's pushed me to start like leveling up my riding and getting riskier and doing these things is just because no one else is. Like I'm in a position of, oh, I know what's capable, especially with the remote, and someone's just got to do it to show other people. So I don't claim to be the best rider in the world by any means. Um,
No, 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 no. You're not the best. You are a person who no, 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 no. I'm going to be. I want to be honest. You have
yeah,
everything what we need. You are a fantastic rider. You are a fair person. You are a guy who everybody loves you because you love this sport, and you have friends around you all the time, and you are a person who take care of all the riders, and that is the important thing for all of us. I know that of course you want to win, but if you have the chance to take care of someone, and if he's I see lots of videos. Lots of people don't see the videos. I see you sometimes lose your board, and your board you don't have
yeah,
no chance anymore to ride because you don't know where is your board,
yep,
and or you are like your legs are giving up because
yeah.
the people don't know that is this trails sometimes you have 20-25 minutes just riding like insane, and you
It's
have
surprisingly a workout sometimes. Like it takes endurance for
mhm.
sure.
And
But yeah, at the end of the day, that's what I really just want to. Will give back to the community. But what I get the most fun out of nowadays is just pioneering this sport. Like it's so early on. There's so many directions it could go, and just having these things that I like know. Like I know the potential that the remote brings, and VESC in general brings. So really what I want to do is just like start diving into these things, show like give a glimpse to other people of what's possible with this so that better riders than myself can take these tools and go send crazy stuff that I never would and just push the sport to a whole new level. So that's why like I'm not that at least I didn't grow up being a risk taker, but I'm like 100% I'm getting into jumps this year. We're going to see how far I can push it, but I just wanted to put out clips so that other people see, they get interested, and they dive into it themselves so that I can, when I hit like a 10-foot jump, someone else can go out and hit a 20, you know?
yeah,
So,
like you, my friend, when you are like you in your Instagram, your Facebook, I know that there's lots of people asking you, or when you go to the race events, because of your remote, because your style of riding. Just go. I'm going to change here before we go to that. I want to show your boards.
yeah.
What the people ask you normally? What
I
is your setup? What are
Yep,
you are
exactly.
using? What is the questions that everybody comes to you? Because I know there is lots of questions. Everybody is very interesting to ask you lots of stuff.
That's what at the end of the day, the my setup and the changes I made to it in the last year have been some of the biggest game changers for me and how I ride. Because I can't even pick which one has been the biggest game changer, but the three are just big tire, control freaks, or just any footholds, and the remote.
Hmm.
The tire, like we talked about before, there we have that need for suspension for handling trails at higher speeds. And until we get a good solution for an actual like mechanical suspension, just getting more sidewall on that tire and being able to use like extra rubber on the tire as suspension, that's what we've got. And especially with how light I am, I just
Mm-hmm.
get bucked by everything. I
Yeah.
cannot keep that board on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I just have that big tire, run it super. I mostly race at 3 psi, so it just soaks up everything practically flat. But it works. And then I've got the control freaks. Again, everything really bucks me, especially at my weight. So having that extra lock in to just stay on the board, keep the board on the ground, is game changer. And having control and turns and things like that. And then obviously the remote has, like I've talked about before, has just been night and day, like totally changed the way
What
I
control are
ride.
you using?
So this is the Voyager from Build Kit Boards. Any kind of remotes we're using are just from
Let's
the
see it.
Eastgate world.
Mm-hmm.
Here we go. This is
Okay.
not a typical Eastgate
Mm-hmm.
controller.
No,
Most
no.
of them have like those like thumb throttles,
Yeah.
like a wheel. But something about this remote and having the joystick, uh, it's just, it seems the most
Give me a
intuitive
second.
to me.
Let me
Like,
try to explain to everybody.
yeah, because something about like the resistance and the joystick, it just lets you make really like fine, precise
Mm-hmm.
movements, move back and forth. A lot of other
You have like
Eastgate
this one.
remotes, yeah,
Is you have this one is like this. You just have to push it, and you have the other one is like the pistol.
yeah,
And the
exactly.
brake here on the top is what he's trying to explain for you to know what is the difference. Your control is totally different, uh, but on the top. But I think is very good because it's like you have your finger to
That's
work it.
what it works really well with like wrist guards and things
Mm-hmm.
like that. Just having that little extra, like something to hold on to in
Mm-hmm.
between your fingers, just makes it so you don't have to think about how you're holding the remote or it's slipping out of your hand or anything like that. It kind of just disappears in my hand as I'm riding. I don't really think about it. But yeah, right now we're just reusing Eastgate remotes that are compatible with
Mm-hmm.
VESC. And I think in the next year, we're probably going to start seeing people diving into making remotes specifically for VESC.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know who's gonna do it, but I can definitely like I
Don't
can think
worry,
of a
the
few different.
community are very good.
Exactly. You
It
see more and more people pop into the VESC community just to contribute to it. I've
uh,
seen more and more people hopping in and making their own enclosures and things like that. So
uh,
I think it's inevitable that we start seeing remotes made specifically for one wheels. So that should be really cool.
First of all, I just want to say to you and like lots of riders who are with the VESC that they work. Lots of people don't understand how much work you guys spend because the VESC is today in is in this stage so big because first of all of the guys who take hours and hours creating all the the controllers, the BMS, the batteries, the level, everything with the VESC, and then comes the riders who have to test it, have to broke themselves because they have to know everything and they have to give the feedback and
Yep.
say that is not good, that is not working. Okay, what can we change? What can we do? And that is what the people don't understand. Oh, VESC is not. VESC is something that we have to be very thankful about you, most of the riders that put your bodies to the test. you are
Yep.
you are the dummies in the beginning because everybody who knows when you start to ride the VESC was something very new for the one wheels, and you are the persons who give your body and try to bring it to the level what we have today, and that is the persons we cannot forget. Veskman, lots of riders. I don't want to forget any name. I don't want to put, but it's like
Yeah.
people that is very love about this and the future, and for the future that people is going to enjoy it. Don't have no not anymore the problem of configurations of putting everything. Everything is already coming finish and
Yeah, and that's just gonna get better and better. Like between like a year and a half ago and now, it's become so much more user friendly. We have different apps that are being developed and whatnot. And you're just going to keep seeing that more and more. That honestly, within like a year, 2 years time, it's probably going to get to the point where you can just go to a shop, have the board built for you. And in terms of like the user experience and riding the board, uh, you can probably get it to a point where it's as simple as an actual one wheel, as at least similar to how they have custom
I did.
shaping and things like that. And people can just get as simplified or as complex with it as they want, and having those options.
Do
So
you think that is going to be easy? I don't want to be like I told to you in private. I don't want to go to this discussion, but
mhm.
do you think the future motion is going to make our lives easier? Because I've seen there is lots of fights. There is lots of people trying to block our freedom of riding because they want to shut the companies who are creating this VESC and this VESC world, and it's very sad. I'm not putting no negative and
Mhm.
everything, but I hope that they come to agreement that we can work everything together. I don't think that
That's
is. Please,
yeah.
please.
That's what at the end of the day, like so you go back like before VESC, and the big thing that really pushed the VESC movement is the obviously like rights repair and things like that, and the desire for just competition in the space, uh, and just options, having options, and those options have to sort of, I don't want to say compete with each other, but obviously if you see one option's doing one thing, the other company or other group is going to want to do something similar or try to one up that, and in general that benefits the sport. You just see more and more innovations and things like that. So from that standpoint, uh, I don't want to go a step back and like I don't want to
Okay.
see future motion go. At the end of the day, even if they're doing their own thing, and you can have your opinion of how they are as a company and whatnot. Um, at the end of the day, they have the resources to do the things that uh, certain things that no one else can, and
Mhm.
especially if they can improve, certain things of like how they run their company and whatnot. uh, I think they could really like bring a lot of benefit to the sport and help push the sport farther and faster than we could without them.
Mhm.
Uh, Ideally, it'd be awesome to also see them. I don't say back off, but just be a bit more open of allowing these other options into the space.
Mhm.
Not only to like benefit the sport, but also to push them to be the best like one wheel making company that they can be. And that's what you've seen as VESC has grown. Suddenly now they're pushed to get custom shaping on their
That's what I want to
GT,
say.
and then hire the factory team, and on like they won't say it outright, but the GTS series is basically a response to what we've seen
They
in the
have to
VESC
give the
world.
response.
Yeah.
And I think that all of us win with that because
Exactly. It's a
the
benefit
people.
to everyone. It's the benefit to the riders.
I know that these people who love the future motion and love the one wheel. We have the reasons here in Europe why we don't want the one wheel. Is not because we don't want, it's because sometimes it was a pain in the ass for all of us to
Yeah.
get parts, to wait 3 months for repairing, for to have it was very difficult, and
Mhm.
we have to find a solution for all of us. It's not that we don't want to work with the future motion. It's they have to open for all of us. They have to be more open for the riders, the community, not just their community. They have to be open for all the communities. And it's so beautiful to see the one wheel GTS against a VESC, and
Yeah.
I think that is beautiful to see it. And I was in a party last week with a friend in Netherlands, and was a guy who bring a one wheel that he made himself, and the one wheel was amazing. Was something that everybody was asking, and that is the beautiful of this is seeing the guys behind creating and pushing. We are seeing Vict, who create this package for
Yeah.
you to travel, and he's
Hmm.
always in USA, and he's not trying to sell nothing. He's trying to help the community with ideas, and that is the beautiful thing for all of us. And that's what changed. And I think maybe Future Motion has to have respect for this, for the riders, because you guys are helping Future Motion too. Because
Exactly. That's what. Okay. At the end of the day, like, if Future Motion doesn't have the resources to support the European community more, have a service center out there. Uh, like, if they don't have the resources, they don't have the resources. But if it comes to that, they should be open to allowing more options in the space to support the things that they can't, so that they can stay in their niche and focus fully on that without having people on their backs hounding them for things that they're just not capable of doing. You know what I mean?
Nico,
So I really think, uh,
let's
as
put
the
it this
sport,
way.
yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to put it this way. I have lots of friends here in Europe. They are big fans of Future Motion. They love the
Hmm.
one wheel. But sometimes when you see that you as you have a company in Europe that is not Future Motion, but you sell for the Future Motion. But
Hmm.
then when I have a problem, I cannot go to you. You tell
Hmm.
me, oh Nelson, I just sell it. Now you have to contact the Future Motion in America if you have a problem. So that is very bad. You
Yeah,
understand?
yeah,
And then you contact, and the reaction sometimes is not the best ones. And of course, I want to have the best of us, and I know that there's lots of friends who say I love my one wheel,
yeah.
and it's fair, but open for all of us. I see the events last year was 5, 6 events, and we don't see no support from them. You understand? That's why today, this year, they came independently because they don't
Hmm.
see nothing. Bar Miller was here with his family, and he was in an event in Scotland, and he said the same one here, and he say, "Oh, hey, where is the flags? Where is everything from Future Motion?" And they say, "We don't have nothing." You don't receive nothing from them, and that is very sad.
Yeah, especially like in certain aspects, especially now, the way you guys have races and the European One Wheel League set up out there, there's certain aspects of that we can learn from. Honestly, like, it's really impressive how you guys have gotten things organized for this race season.
Hmm.
And it'd just be cool to see a lot more support for that, and give the support needed out there for one wheel to flourish. And at the end of the day, if they
Come on,
can't do that,
I
it
would
shouldn't be a
love to have.
surprise that the DIY scene keeps on growing out there, because they need that option to support their riding.
I, I,
So
would- I would love to have you like you here, the best riders in from USA, not just the VESC people, but the one wheel
yeah.
team, the best riders to come and say, okay, let's go to Europe, and we travel. We can share all of us the. I don't know how much cost everything. We are open here to receive everybody, and that way we don't have to. The Future Motion don't have to have everything, but to work every something. Not what I'm trying to say is like this. I would love to see this grow in a one way. I'm a guy with community. I'm not a guy. I would love to see the future of this. That you guys have the possibility to have a helm with the Red Bull or
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't care with the
Yeah.
banana company, but that you say I can go to Australia. I can go to the events in Europe, and you can compete against these guys. And these guys have to train more and have the possibility. I see most of the guys we know, and we have private lives. You are studying, you are finished, you have to pay for everything, and sometimes it's difficult.
Hmm.
And
That's
that's what.
what. Yeah, as the sport grows more and more, uh, things have to be more open to support that, and that's really the direction I see things going. As long as everyone's on the same page, I really think people like to compare to skateboarding and
Mhm.
snowboarding, but really the closest parallel is mountain biking. You can't get around that,
Yeah.
and you see like how mountain bike enduro series are run,
Hmm.
and people are traveling all over the world for that kind of thing. You have big sponsors supporting that. So really long term, but that's the direction I see things going for sure.
I hope very much. I hope to see you guys. I can go and
Yeah.
say, maybe I'm not racing, but I can say, okay, I go to this event because it's going to be Nico, it's going to be, I don't know, David
Yeah.
Silva. I don't know, ladies, that the ladies are pushing so much this sport too. And I want to see more ladies in Europe, like in USA, you have lots of ladies. I want to see the kids growing and go to this sport and say, oh, amazing, I can go and have some fun. And that's what the beautiful about that. And then comes the people who are the fans who support you guys, like you. I see you when you go to your race and you say, come Nico, and
Yeah.
everybody's behind you and supporting, and they are not racing, they just want to see you there and want to see the best riders, and that's what make this go higher and higher. I don't have nothing against the AUCs. I ride AUC. I love my AUC, but I always tell to my friends it's not easy for them. The What I love about the one wheel is the community.
It's different. Yeah, they're really like, you look at all the different PV scenes. Obviously, there's communities of e-skate riders and
Hmm.
EUC riders, but just something about one wheel, it's different.
It's
Like
very
there's a
different, my
different sort
friend.
of connection. The events feel a lot more like family,
Hmm.
and you're seeing a lot more innovations in how these events are run. I'd honestly love to see a lot more EUC events start to get into trails and whatnot, because they can handle way gnarlier trails than we can right now. So to see them doing sort of like similar things as MTB enduros, like that'd be insane. That'd be a great spectator sport.
I would love. That is something I have in plan in the future. I make events here in Europe. I try to bring the best for all of us, and I would love to see. I know that Float Life Fest is mixing. Lots of them are the Oko City Fest is making a mix too.
Yeah.
But I think we are growing slowly and slowly, and that way we can see lots of PVs to, together, and that way I just want to show you something. I was in this event.
Oh yeah,
I am the second one.
yeah.
That is me. So you have to think. I was waiting for my one wheel because Westman was going to bring in my one wheel because it was repaired, because I was
Mhm.
with the Aero Aero 16, I think,
Oh
is the
yeah.
BMS. Yeah.
Yep.
And the Westman repaired it to me, and he bring me, and I was with the AUC, but the community received me so well.
Yeah.
I was the only one with the AUC there. And imagine you being all the one wheels and just one guy with the AUC. But everybody take care of me very well. And they pushed me to. And I was riding with these guys in Italia on the trails. And that was the waking up for me to see these guys pushing. And I
Mhm.
say, wow, the one wheel is going to another level.
Yeah,
And that was
it's
like,
exciting, and sort of looping back to what we were talking about before.
uh-huh.
Like we have all these Groms, and I really think as long as the sport survives this long, w- the time period where you're really gonna see a lot more like boom in not just popularity but like support for the sport and things like that is as you have current riders get old enough to where they basically retire out of riding, but they want to support the sport, so they start like funding these events and things like that, volunteering at events, and then all these groms that are growing up riding, they're going to get better and better. So suddenly you have a lot more people supporting the sport, a lot more money coming into the sport, and just insane riders doing things that people would never do before. That as we have that shift of like just one generation more, as long as the sport survives that far, I think you're going to see a huge boom. We'll see if we get there,
So
but that's what's exciting to me.
before we continue, I just want to let's talk about this, because in this moment that we are seeing something like this, I think that was a very good race. I'm going to make you some question.
Yeah.
It's like this: what was till today the guys who give you more work, or the guys who push you more in all this time of riding?
I mean, it's the pros. Like the biggest thing that hooked me into coming to all these events is getting the chance to ride with these pro riders and whatnot. Because like back home locally, you only have so many people you can ride with. And as you ride with them more and more, you start to get on the same
25
level
minutes,
as the people.
134 riders.
Yeah, you start to get on the same level as the people local to you. So like you level each other up and like feed off each other's energy. But when you go out to an event, you could feel like you're the best rider in the world, and then suddenly you jump in a trail with someone else and they just take off and you can't keep up. So having those people to sort of push you and see what's possible on a board, that's what pushes you to get faster and faster. And it's kind of crazy that now obviously my board being VESC and having these advantages is a factor. But it's crazy coming out to these events and starting to like that number of people that I can chase after has
This
has
is,
gone quite a bit lower nowadays. There's more
I
people
want to,
chasing after me.
I want to have a question. Is
Yeah.
this guy of green hit the guy from the camera?
Yeah. He
Look
I
at
don't
this.
remember exactly what happened.
Look
He
at
just
this.
turned the guy with the camera turned left when he wasn't
Yeah.
expecting him to, and yeah, they totally collided.
Boy, that is no chance. That is no chance.
He actually got up pretty quickly though, and I don't remember what place he placed, but there was like 100 something riders in this,
Hmm.
and he still got I think eighth or seventh, something like that.
How can you
So
describe it? How can you describe it? The Float Life Fest.
it's just so the races are only one small aspect of it. At the end of the day, it's a big festival, a lot of focus on like social, like embracing the community and things like that. I think they had 600 something people out there. So just going to an event, and especially if you camp there, just fully immersing yourself and being like totally surrounded by one wheels. And I mean, I'm sure you guys have experienced
Hmm.
similar things out there. But it's just an experience like no other. And then these mass start races, especially, like I don't think there's not too many people that take it too seriously. At the end of the day, it's kind of a gimmick race. Like you're just in it for the experience of like 100 plus people all racing on the same trail.
Hmm.
It's like a big ass group ride, you know. Like it's so fun. So that's why especially I make sure to take care of like calling out on your left, like not getting too aggressive trying to pass people, because they're just trying to enjoy the race the same way as I am. So I
Hmm.
don't want to ruin that experience for other people. Um,
When you
but
come
yeah,
out, when you come to the finish of these races and seeing so many people, you have to, first of all, you have to think 25 minutes in this is crazy. Is
yeah,
like insane. You have to have the power, you have to have the condition, you have to be really, you don't have to make no mistakes. You know that mistakes can be in these small trails can be very damage, and is not easy. But coming to the end and see all these crazy friends, people that you never see before, people that come to you and hug you and are proud of you, are like, it's like, how do you feel yourself, my friend?
it's an amazing feeling just coming out of the race, and it's there's just something about that shared experience of like even if everyone raced differently is on different skill levels, things like that, just that shared experience of oh we are all exhausted and torn up and we all just bombed this trail for 25 minutes straight. Like it you can't describe it. It's like
Hmm.
nothing else, and it's got me totally hooked. Like I love the exhilaration and the personal challenge of like downhill enduro style like time trial races and
Hmm.
things like that. That's always what I'll take the most seriously. But these mass start races are just the most fun by far, and they get the most views on YouTube. So I'm not the only one that shares that feeling. Like it's just exciting. It's fun. I can't get enough of it.
So I'm a guy who likes to see videos. I don't have no problem to say that. I'm a guy who all your videos I see it from the beginning to the end because I understand the history. I
Hmm.
understand what is happening, and the other thing is seeing you pushing and the people behind you pushing you too, and
Yeah.
then see the communication between all of you guys. I think that is everybody should see that and learn, because sometimes it's not just you going on front; is asking to the guy on your back or on your front, "Are you okay? Everything is good? Go, don't stop. I'm behind you. I wait. Don't have no problem. I'm going to go to your left. I'm going to go to your right."
Hmm.
And lots of people have to learn that to make this like a big event. And you are one of the persons when we go and see your videos, we see everything in that. We see that you are want to push. Sometimes you are pushing too much, and then
Yeah.
and then you just come to the end and say, "Oh man, that was just amazing. That was a video that I can see it and I'm not get tired because
That's
I'm
what.
learning with you."
Yeah, one of my favorite things is just seeing how many people say, "Hey, I came to this event because I saw your video and
Yeah.
I wanted to do that." Like, it's actually insane how many times I've gotten that. And I know, like, I I would be like this in the races no matter what, but I also know it's important to, especially with the videos, to set that example of like sportsmanship, especially this early on in in the sport. You just want everyone to enjoy themselves and not take things too seriously, that it's
This
at
guy
the
is from
expense
UK.
of other people's experiences. Oh yeah.
It was with a bad accident in Portugal.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it was a bit. He broke his shoulder
Oh no.
racing. But then you come to this. I want to put a bit to the top because everybody is thinking you are alone riding. But then you come to this stage that you have lots of riders in your front, that you have to work a lot. How do you see that when you come and you see 10 riders in your front and you know that you don't have so much space to pass?
That's what that first lap especially is so important because there's no one on the trails yet.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the best opportunity to just get as much distance as you can, and then we start just continually lapping the same trail. So it's this constant, like, you have to focus on the trail ahead of you, but you're also mentally trying to find these lines around people that will like not mess up their riding and
Oh,
whatnot.
that is Vic.
Oh yeah, right there.
That is
The
Vic.
black hoodie and green shirt is very recognizable.
And he's doing now a new wheel. Huh? He's
Yeah,
coming out.
yeah.
He's going to come out with a new one with a 100 volts.
That's what hit all the systems he like thinks up and comes out with is so awesome to see. I love seeing his builds just like innovate every year.
Yeah, I think that is amazing. That is
Yeah.
just for everybody. Don't think that. And then you have this young kid that is crazy.
Yeah. That's
And
what he's got, very much a competitive spirit. There was a lot of people in the comments, criticizing how he's been in how he was in this race. I don't know,
he's young.
people.
He's
Yeah,
wild.
at the end of the day, he's 14. And
Come
after
on.
this, it if it helps, after this experience, a lot of people talk to him and things like that, and I think he's got a better understanding,
He's young.
of like uh, just how your actions affect others and
Come
things
on.
like
He's
that.
pushing for everybody. I
And
love this
at
kid.
yeah, and at the end of the day too, like, I think that there's a line of like, it it very much contrasts how I take the race, but there's certain aspects that I'm probably a bit too nice at times, that it affects, my own riding, like at the expense of my own riding and performance and things like that. So
Hmm.
so there's a balance there.
You
But
are.
yeah,
He's young. He's wild. He's going to learn. He's going to learn with you guys. Yeah, but
exactly.
I think that the beautiful thing is how you came to the end, the two of you, and speak and talk, and that is the beautiful thing. Is Of course he makes mistakes, but don't criticize. Help him to grow. That is
Exactly. Yeah, yeah.
I think that is a very. I hate when I start to see people going negative. Just be constructive. Give him
Exactly. You
positive
can be
ideas.
constructive and just give the person a chance to
Yeah.
learn and grow from that, and then we can keep racing and having
Yeah,
fun.
I
So
think it's beautiful to see you competing against him and seeing the best riders and see you when I see your videos you and then I see your friends putting another videos and you are showing the jumps from A B C and
yeah,
everybody is just upgrading and is I love this kid. I don't have nothing against. I have other riders that I love a lot. It's not that is my favorite. I have my favorites. I don't have. I love Silva. I don't have no problem to say it. I think he's a very experienced rider, and I
absolutely.
love this
Yeah.
style of riding. I love your style of riding. I love the VESC man ride because he's a friend. He's a big friend. I love Jaffa is a guy who rides here, but there's so many people. When are we going to say how many people there are? But I'm learning with these guys every day because
Yeah.
every time I go to the road and I make questions. I see that what they do. I learn with my mistakes and I go to them and I ask him, "Hey, can you give me a tip?" And
Yeah, exactly.
and that is the beautiful thing of this. Doesn't matter. And the important thing is you come in the end of the day, you say, "Okay, I maybe I'm a little hurt, but I survive." And that is the beautiful thing. And that's the future. Nico, I would love to ask you something is like this. I know that the race is beautiful. Everybody go there. I'm going to leave all the links. Go there, subscribe to his YouTube channel, Instagram. If you have any questions, what is the best way for the people to contact you?
Yeah, the best way is probably just through my Instagram. That's where I'm most active. Instagram and YouTube are really my
Mm-hmm.
two big platforms.
Mm-hmm.
YouTube, you'll find all my long form. I'll post the POVs of all my
Mm-hmm.
races and whatnot. I'm sure there's plenty more to come from that as I start trying to go out to these West Coast races too. So I'm excited to show everyone those from my perspective. And then Instagram, I post a lot like shorter clips. I'll
Mm-hmm.
post a lot to my stories, and you can reach out to me in my DMs anytime.
Yeah, perfect. And then I want to ask you, tell us a little about your set. What is the difference between the two boards for everybody? I know that they ask you all the time, but maybe you can tell us a little of the machines that you are using in this moment. That is the picture that you send me.
Yeah, so the board on the right, and we've talked a bit about it before,
Mm-hmm.
but really the big things are just that big tire, the Burris 11.5 by
Mm-hmm.
7, and to this day, that's really the only great big tire option we found. I've heard Jeff from the Float Life teasing in the Discord a couple times. I'm pretty
Mm-hmm.
sure they're working on a big tire version of the
Of
Pioneer.
course, it's not going to stop.
Yeah, so that should be exciting. But right now, been rocking that Burris, and then the Control Freaks, and the remote. Those three things
is
just
for you
for
better?
racing.
Is
Say
for
that
you
again.
better? Big is for you today. Your favorite tire is the big one.
Oh yeah, at least for racing,
Mm-hmm.
it's just been an absolute game changer. And I was really excited about the 5-inch hub too, and you see that
Mm-hmm.
on the board on the
Mm-hmm.
left. Like ever since I've gone with the big tire, that extra sidewall, the suspension you can get from it,
Mm-hmm.
I'm just hooked on that. So I knew even for my second board, I had to do something about it, and that 5-inch hub is a great solution. But there's something about
Nick. Whoa.
there's something about the taller diameter of the tire,
Mm-hmm.
of the big tire, that I think it just climbs over stuff at speed
Mm-hmm.
a bit better. It's just confidence inspiring.
I love the
Like I
tire.
love the 5-inch hub. It is super fun,
Mm-hmm.
but for high speed, like legit
Do you
racing, I'm all over the big tire.
Nico? Do you see a change of speed with the big tire?
Um, I'm guessing because of the taller diameter, like you can get higher top speed out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Theoretically, it's when you go taller tire, you get
Mm-hmm.
less torque and then
Mm-hmm.
more
More
speed.
speed. Yeah.
But with these vest setups, I've got more torque than I need. Even with the hypercore, because I'm only like 105 pounds, I'm really lightweight. So yeah, I've got more torque than I need.
Mm-hmm.
So that big tire, taller tire, just handles stuff at speed
Mm-hmm.
really well. Super confidence inspiring. And then
What
I've
motor
got,
are you using?
say that again.
What motors are you using?
Right now, I've stuck with the hypercore. I
Mm-hmm.
do have a superflux high speed on the
Mm-hmm.
way. Um, with how light I am, I haven't really had any like thermal issues on the hypercore. I
Mm-hmm.
haven't had too many torque issues. So I'm not super adamant on going to Superflux just yet because of the added
It's
weight.
heavy, huh?
Yeah,
Heavy, yeah.
it's a little
It's
heavy.
very heavy, huh?
But I know more and more people in VESC racing out here are upgrading their setups, and I'm gonna have to start competing with that. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I at least have a Superflux in my arsenal ready to go for when I need those like high top speeds.
Then what you have more? The Tell us a little more about your board. The rails, the setting, everything.
Yeah, on the race setup, I've got extended steep and deep rails.
Mm-hmm.
I switch between those and the X10 rails. Um, for the most part, what I figured out is the X10 rails I really like for like flat ground, fast, chunky stuff where you have like extended uphills, extended downhills, not too many like fast up and down
Mm-hmm.
transitions. Just stuff where you're staying really grounded. Having that extra kick in the nose gives you a lot to brace against and
Go
just
forth.
push forward. And then for stuff with lots of like rollers,
Mm-hmm.
tabletops, things where you're getting a lot of air, I like the symmetrical rails, like the
Mm-hmm.
WTFs, just a little bit more. So for Windman, that was the last race I did, and that's the setup I went with. And then I have it lowered with
Okay.
crazy hubs from Tech Rails, because especially with the remote and being able to control the board's angle,
Mm-hmm.
you don't need extra clearance as much.
Okay. That's
So
good.
lowering, you can get a lot more stability out of it.
Mm-hmm. That is a
And
good thing.
then the board on the left is sort of my secondary board.
Mm-hmm.
That's got the 5-inch hub from the Float Life with their 555 Enduro on it.
Mm-hmm.
And that board I just keep like no footholds on it. I usually don't run the remote on it. So that's sort of my like classic just rip around and have fun. That tire is so fun. That 555 Enduro
Mm-hmm.
is like you can run it low pressure and it just soaks up everything. It's surprisingly stable, but it's still really like maneuverable. You can whip it around, and it's just like it feels like an extension of your body.
Yeah, the
So
five
when
five
I'm not racing, that's the board that I'm typically riding just to go out and have fun on.
and to jumps, what are you with the big tire is better?
I'd say so. It's the 555 Enduro is really fun, but it's on landings. You have to be a lot more adamant about like keeping things
Mm-hmm.
straight and flat. Otherwise, you can technically get a tiny bit more wobble on the landing. You just have to be a bit more careful about that. That big tire, it just soaks everything up. Like it's insane. You don't have to worry about how you land. Just stay like balanced on the board, nose to tail wise,
I
and it just soaks it all up.
Nico, I don't want to put you in a bad situation. But I have to have this question. You use this setting of wings. There's lots of competitions there, lots of types of for you to have your feet uh, uh, saved. Like you have the
Hmm.
fly fins. You have
Yeah.
this ones. You have. Do you tested all of them, or you been direct to this ones and you stick to them?
Yeah, I actually rode flight fins for better part of I think 3 years. I started with like front and back flight fins, and eventually found out I was really only using the back fin
Mm-hmm.
in my back foot for extra control and whatnot. Because
Mm-hmm.
at least at that point, I wasn't one to actually jump with my board and lift it up in the
Mm-hmm.
air. I just don't have the leg strength for that.
Mm-hmm.
So I rode and raced with that back fin for so long. Um, and eventually, as I started getting more and more serious with racing, about a year ago, I tried out a front overlander lifter.
Yeah.
So I had just having something to hook my front angled foot
Mm-hmm.
into, on like near the nose, and then I just kept the rear flight fin. I rode that for a bit, um, but I realized I couldn't use the lifter as much
Mm-hmm.
as I wanted to because when you have two lifters, two like outside
Mm-hmm.
pressure kind of footholds, that allows you to like when you push against the back one, that pushes you into the front one and vice versa, and you can
Mm-hmm.
really lock in that way. While if you have just like front lifter and the back flight fin, which are both like forward facing, you can't lock into it quite as much. So then I wanted to go two lifters, but I'm a short guy.
Mhm.
that wide of a stance just doesn't work for me. Like I look like when you see like a toddler riding a one wheel and their legs are like super spread out, so they're on the footpaths. I basically looked like that, so that wasn't working for me. And I reached out to Riley Johnson. He makes what are on my board now, which are called Control Freaks.
Mhm.
And basically, what I did is I took a picture of like, here's my exact stance. Here's where my front foot is. Here's where my back foot is. And he custom made those mounts to match my exact stance.
Oh, that is
So that's
beautiful, my
that's
friend.
been the biggest game changer of how those are different compared to the other options. Like the lifters, that outward pressure is really nice for racing. I kind of
Mhm.
stand by that now. That like
Mhm.
footholds that allow you to push your feet outwards rather than inwards, like flight fins.
Mhm.
That just feels better for high speed riding where you want to be as stable as possible. But the lifters, you can kind of only lock your toes in
Mhm.
unless you have like a really wide parallel stance
Mhm.
because it's just a bar in the front, right?
Mhm.
But with the control freaks, I always have my front foot pretty angled, as you can see.
Mhm.
So even with my angled foot stance, I can still have something to push my heel against.
Mhm.
And that's been a big game changer that I really like. I don't think about my foot stance anymore when I'm riding. I just get on the board and I'm exactly where I want to be. I don't have to think about moving my feet around when I'm riding. I'm either on the board or off the board. So yeah, I've tried them all. I didn't try the over lifters extensively, but the like extra wide stance was just a deal breaker for me. So I can't speak too much about
Mhm.
those. But the control freaks just absolutely changed how I race. Like
Yeah.
that's probably the biggest game changer in my racing in the last year, to be honest.
That has helped you a lot. So, my friend, I don't want to make this video very big.
Yeah.
First of all, no, I like because when you make a big video of lots of hours, the people is going to be too much hours. And
Yeah.
but the important thing for me is like this. Uh, was First of all, I want to say that it is a big pleasure to have you here. I know that we have lots to learn with you. You are the most positive guy that we can have in our communities. But before I finish, I would love to, first of all, listen from you in all the events you've been. For the people who are in USA, what you recommend, what is the difference between them, and for the people who's going to go in 2024, maybe they can have a idea and listen to your opinion, what they're going to receive.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it really depends on what you want to get out of your experience and how you ride. Because you have popular choices like Float Life Fest, Oak City Shred Fest, Seek and Shred Fest. These big festivals that are focused on sort of getting as much of the experience as you can. There's a big emphasis on like being social
Mm-hmm.
and things like that. So all these events they focus on getting like a property that works for like a ton of people and things like that, and then they build out the trails they need to there. So you get great riding there. They all have awesome races, but at the end of the day, it's a lot more focused on being social and enjoying that experience, which is perfect for a lot of people. Me personally, I just want I love the events where it's in legit like existing mountain bike trail systems where you just have miles and miles and miles of trails to practice on, to ride with your friends, and you're just riding 24/7. So for me, those races, which are really just the like dirt surfers and related races that are
Mm-hmm.
like enduros, or you just riding miles and miles of trails. That's what I'm all about. So like the top two races for sure, to me personally, are dirt surfers and Windman Enduro.
Okay.
Those experiences are just like nothing else. Like you can't come out of that event not being a better rider.
I imagine, my friend.
Yeah.
So first of all, I just want to say, don't stop to improving. Don't stop to the best way to share and show us and upgrade for the safety of all of us. I know that sometimes you make you in risk. You do lots of crazy stuff, and is a privilege to have you here. This is my 321 interview with riders. You are one of the persons that I was waiting a long to have you here
I'm glad we
because
finally made it happen.
yes, and I think lots of people win with you. You win with them, of course. You have lots of fans, lots of people who love you. I know that we're going to see a big future for you. I hope that companies start to invest in you guys. You deserve it, and lots of riders that I know they deserve it to have that opportunity for you to have the chance maybe to come like Von Miller was last year in Europe.
Yeah.
Was I talk about him a lot because he was
Yeah.
one of the, and he experienced his adventure and his experience with the riders here in Europe, and that was beautiful. And I think we need to listen maybe from you and lots of riders, and we share with everyone, and we grow all of us together. For everybody's out there, Nico is a fantastic person. He's one of the persons who's going to help this sport to go to another dimension. For the future riders, maybe not you. I hope that you, but maybe in the future, other riders going to say we have this sport as an Olympic sport or as a radical sport because of names like you and people who made lose most of this private life, not lose because I know that you have lots of fun. I see your videos, and I think we need more persons like you, and I'm very very happy. I hope that one day we can meet us personally, and I can give you a big hug and say
Yeah.
thank you so much what you has done for all of us. I'm a big fan from you. I don't have no
Appreciate
problem to
it.
say that. And sometimes when I speak about riders here, they special riders that I have here, and I never going to forget it. This is for the community, and you are one of them who make for the community, not just for you or to show or to be clicks or something like that. You are here because you have want to have fun, you want to have good friends and enjoy it, and try to bring this sport to another level, and you are bringing, my friend. You
That's what
are
it's so
putting.
exciting to be part of a sport that's just like it's such early days for something that just keeps growing and growing. So I just want to be a pioneer and help pave the way for the
You
future.
are a pioneer, my friend. You don't have no chance.
Yeah.
You cannot do that. Nothing else. You
Yeah.
are one of them, and I just want to, before I leave you with the last words for the community going to see this video later on, or for everybody. Don't forget, this channel is not made. If you want to subscribe, subscribe. If not, the important thing, come here and support the riders. We just bring riders from around the world. Sometimes it's not the people that you never see in your life. They are simple persons, but that's the main thing of this channel, is to bring riders. Doesn't matter. We don't want to choose. Of course, we want to bring Nico, bring good riders, because they are the ones who can help the other riders to uh, involve and go higher. And that way, you are one of them. Before I want to say goodbye, I just want to say, guys, I'm going to leave all the medias from him. I invite Nico to come here. Don't think that is no propaganda. We are not. He's not paying me nothing. That we have to always say that. That is like
Yeah.
always, rider to rider community. YouTube, you're going to see. Maybe it's better for you to say again. YouTube
Yep.
is for the big videos, for the completely races and everything. And if you want to have fun and you want to see jumps, crazy stuff, riding, falling, uh, testing, go to his Instagram. I think is
Absolutely. Yeah.
one of the best options for you to see short videos and stories. And you're going to have lots of fun with him. Go there, subscribe. That is the best way for you to contact him, is by Instagram, and he's going to try to answer. Go to the YouTube, leave a nice message, push this guy to another level, because when you receive a message from another person, you're going to inspire this person to go to more higher. Nico, I'm going to leave you with the last words for everybody in the community. For my part, is a great day for me to have you here, and I hope to see more and more content from you, and see you going crazy and crazy. Now I leave you with the last words for everybody who came to see or going to see this video later on.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much for having me. This was awesome. At the end of the day, all I have to say is all of you guys that ride out there, just keep riding what you want to ride. I can't express enough like how early this is in the sport, you know, and it's gonna be defined by how people decide to ride and what they push to be the norm. So if there's a certain way you like to ride, just keep doing that, push that, and do whatever gets you the most enjoyment out of the sport. That's what I've been doing. So
That's what we're going to continue to wait from you to do it.
yeah.
Just do the best thing you can. I just want to say to everybody is out there, just have fun, enjoy life, have a good time. Go to follow the people that inspire you, that you love. Like me, I like you a lot. I think you bring lots to the table, and I hope to see more people like you, people that maybe with the same idea like you that want to have fun. And I see you very soon to all of us, all of you. Don't forget that Sundays we're going to have a new thing. Sundays we're going to be, all the events is going to come here and talk about the events is going to happen in Europe and some of the events around the world. We're going to bring it too. And just come and support all of us, and that way you can be more informed, and that way you can decide which events should I go in Europe, and maybe in USA, Australia, everywhere. Have a good time, like always. Ride fast, but always be safe. Thank you, Nico.
Thanks.